Hello everybody, I am Gamemaster 909, back with another Gamemaster 909 Plays. Today, I'll be playing Super Smash Bros. For the Nintendo 64, released in 1999, developed by HAL Laboratory and published by Nintendo. Super Smash Bros. Is a platform fighter, which is pretty unheard of at the time this was released, considering it's not like most fighting games. Because rather than trying to drain your opponent's health, you try to rack up their damage percentage, as seen on the bottom of the screen, as this how-to-play demonstration is showing us. So you try to knock your opponents off of the screen, pretty much, by performing different moves, including standard attacks and special attacks. And even being able to shield attacks from opponents. Now, the game stars plenty of Nintendo All-Stars. Oh, by the way, there's also items you can use, which is another kind of attack that you can use with all sorts of items that appear in the game. The game stars many Nintendo All-Stars, including Mario, as seen here, and including other characters like Samus from the Metroid games, Kirby from Kirby's Dream Land. And we even get a glimpse at some gameplay here. So yeah, this game is played with up to 4 players, unlike most fighting games, which are usually just 2 players. But yeah, here you get to see Samus and Kirby, just as example. Some of the characters playable. You also get to see Donkey Kong and Yoshi. That's right. And after that, just get to replay the opening. You could skip it by just pressing the A button. And now, let's start this game. And so when you start up the game, you have this pretty standard menu, which is 4 options. Options, it's just sound, screen adjust, ooh, and backup clear, in case you want to clear any of your save data, which is, I guess, helpful. But, yeah, don't tell any friends that, because there are those jerkish friends that'll probably clear your save data without you knowing. And there's also characters and versus record, which we'll look at later. For now, we may as well focus on one-player mode. And with pretty much the main entree of the game, one-player game. So, whenever you start the game, you are greeted with 8 different characters from different Nintendo IPs. So yeah, rather than having an original roster of different fighters, we have pre-existing characters. And we even have 4 more to unlock as we play through this game. And we even have some options over here, such as adjusting the difficulty from very easy to very hard. You may as well set it to normal for now. And stock. This is pretty much how many lives you have. So pretty much how many times you can be sent off screen or pretty much be KO'd, which is this game's official term for it. And so I'm going to be playing through the one-player game as each of the 12 in total characters. We may as well start out with our boy Mario. Alright, so one-player game has you going through a bunch of different rounds with different rule sets and different characters you have to fight. So in this case, we get to fight Link from The Legend of Zelda. Pretty standard fight overall. Link will unleash some of his attacks, such as being able to throw bombs. So yeah, you may notice the timer on the top right. That's just pretty much tells you how much time you have. Now you can't actually set that in the one-player mode. You can turn it on and off, and there we go. Link fell to his death. Alright, you'll be given points for different bonuses, such as not using any items, or doing it very quickly, or not losing any lives during the round. So our next stage, Yoshi Team. So we get to fight a bunch of Yoshis, 18 of them, in fact, on Yoshi's stage, which I believe in this game is titled Yoshi's Island. Yeah. It is directly based off the Nintendo 64 game, Yoshi's Story. So because you're fighting 18 different Yoshis, these opponents will have much higher knockback than other opponents, which makes sense. I mean, this is only our second stage after all. Fighting 18 normal Yoshis would be a little tough. And yeah, you may notice some of these items are actually from Nintendo franchises. I believe there are a total of 19 items in this game. And they range from, as you saw one of the Yoshis use a star, which is seen in the Mario series of games, and pretty much acts as it would in those games, to where you'll be invincible for a limited amount of time. So Mario, as a fighter in this game, is pretty much a pretty standard fighter overall. Not really unique in a lot of ways, and is pretty balanced in terms of stats. You got full power there. And now we get to fight Fox McCloud from the Star Fox video games, which I believe at this time there were only 2 of them. And we fight him on his stage, Sector Z, based after Star Fox 64. So Fox is a rather interesting character because they kind of had to improvise his moveset quite a bit because from his video games, which are pretty much on-rail shooters that have you piloting Fox's ship, the R-Wing. So you don't really get to see Fox all that much on foot, aside from, I think, the multiplayer mode in Star Fox 64. But that's it. So, yeah, they had to make an entire moveset based off of being in a ship, because that's the main gameplay of the Star Fox games. So a lot of Fox's moves are based after things you would do in an R-Wing, such as, you know, he has a blaster that he can shoot, and you'll see some of his other moves later on. Anyways, here's an interesting stage in the one-player mode, which has you pretty much a kind of practice stage where you have to break some targets, specifically 10 targets. Now, each of the 12 characters actually have their own unique target test stage. So that's pretty cool. This here is Mario's. And the ground even matches the kind of ground texture you would see in the Donkey Kong arcade game. And I'm pretty sure I'm screwed here because I was supposed to get that target on the right. So, yeah, each of those target tests are supposed to, like, pretty much show off the different moves of each character, such as Mario's high jumping and fireballs. And the next stage has us fighting the Mario Brothers. Now, considering we're already playing as Mario, if multiple players select the same character, each of them will have, like, different colors. Each character in this game has at least 3 extra alternate colors. Mainly, you know, for multiplayer mode, in case multiple players want to play as the same character. Oh, that works. So yeah, that right there was a capsule. Capsules are items that can be thrown and will give out items. Sometimes they explode, so look out for that. Anyways, here's the next round where we get to fight Pikachu from Pokemon, which I believe is the newest franchise to be covered in this game. And we get to fight him on his stage, Saffron City. So yeah, as I was trying to say earlier, oh, by the way, this stage's whole gimmick is that behind that door, some Pokemon creatures will appear, like you saw there with Electrode. And here we have a fire flower from the Super Mario games, which will pretty much just spurt out a bunch of fire. And that took care of them. Next up is where we have to fight a giant Donkey Kong. And we're allied by, well, Donkey Kong and Samus from Metroid. On Donkey Kong stage, Congo Jungle, which is based after the Donkey Kong Country games for the Super Nintendo. Now, one of Mario's moves is the Fireball, which is, of course, based after the Fire Flower power-up that you can pick up in the Mario games. Now, each character in this game has 3 different special moves that can be activated by pressing the B button along with different directions on the control stick. Now, if you just press the B button, that is what is considered the neutral special for a character. If you press B and up on the control stick, that's what's considered an up special. Mario's up special is a high jump, that if you hit an opponent, it will bring out a bunch of coins. Of course, referencing the coins you collect in the Mario games. Anyways, here's another one of the bonus stages, Board the Platforms, which is also unique to each character, which will also pretty much show off pretty much the platforming part of Super Smash Bros. And how each character is unique when it comes to it. I'm not very good at doing this. There we go. Got it. So yeah, for Mario's Board the Platforms is pretty much doing a bunch of jumps. Once again, having the floors seen in the Donkey Kong video game, along with over here, which I guess there were blue floors in that. And by the way, we completed this one with plenty of time to spare, which will give us more points for our total score. Anyways, this next stage is where we have to fight 8 different Kirbys wearing different hats. This shows off one of Kirby's abilities in the game, which is that similar to how he is in some of the Kirby video games, he is actually able to copy abilities from his opponents. So that's pretty cool. He's able to pretty much eat them up and spit them out as he copies one of their abilities. By the way, that item right there was a Bob-omb, also from the Super Mario games. Pretty much, if left idle for a while, they will walk around, and when coming in contact with anything, it will explode. Alright, and the final Kirby we had to fight was just a normal Kirby without any copy abilities. And there we go. We cleared that stage pretty easily. Anyways, our next opponent is Samus Aran from the Metroid games. And we have to fight her on her stage, Planet Zebus. You can tell I'm trying to grab her with the R button on the Nintendo 64 controller. So yeah, that's another attack that... Yeah, by the way, there's Mario's up special, where he takes coins out of the opponent. And there's also, if you press down and B, you'll be able to do the character's down special, which in this case, Mario does a little spin attack, which is pretty reminiscent of the spin jump that Mario is able to do in Super Mario World for the Super Nintendo. And so yeah, with the A button, you're able to do a bunch of standard attacks, and there's different kinds of standard attacks. Oh, by the way, we dealt with Samus. There's different kinds of standard attacks you're able to do, such as while in the air and smash attacks. Oh, by the way, we've got a star finish, which means that we sent the opponent upwards to where they'll appear in the background, kind of flying away. We also got acid clear, which can only be done in Planet Zebus, with the acid that's below us that can easily damage us as it rises and lowers. Anyways, on to the next stage. We're at the fight Metal Mario. Now, Metal Mario is not a playable character and can only be seen in this stage, which I believe is titled Meta Crystal. And even has a giant crystal, which is similar to the one seen in the game that Metal Mario originates from, Super Mario 64. And so yeah, trying to do smash attacks, which is pretty much flicking a direction on the control stick and pressing A at the same time in different directions. These ones take a little while to charge up, but deal a lot of damage, which you're probably going to need in order for Metal Mario here, which is a pretty heavy opponent, meaning that it's pretty hard to knock him back. Ooh, that might do the trick. And that did it! Thank you, Mr. Bob-omb. We got jackpot. Alright, and here is the third of the bonus stages, which is racing to the finish. Pretty much being able to show off each character's speed, I guess. We also have some opponents to deal with. We also have to jump over these explosive barrels. Yeah, if you do touch them, they will explode, so look out for that. We even have a countdown on the wall telling us how close we are to the end. Watch out for those bumpers. Uh-oh. We're almost there. And there we go. We didn't get any bonus for that one. So now we shall move on to the next stage. Fighting Polygon Team. We have to fight 30 of these guys on this stage, which I believe is titled Dual Zone. So these fighting polygons are actually pretty much polygonal and like more basic in design versions of actual playable characters. Uh-oh. I'm gonna grab the star. And so, like the Yoshi and Kirby teams, these opponents have pretty high knockback. Oh, there's a Maxim Tomato from the Kirby games, which will replenish up to 100% of your health, or damage in this case. So I guess these fighting polygons are pretty much supposed to show like the early stages of Nintendo 64 characters, which are, you know, these polygonal textureless models. You may recognize some of them, like that big one is pretty obviously Donkey Kong, and these elf-looking dudes are probably Mario. And look at that, the crowd's cheering for me. So you may notice the crowd in the background. Yeah, they're there and will be pretty loud as they will cheer on the round, or cheer on during the round. And sometimes they'll even chant a certain character's name, as they did there with Mario. Almost done. Now you may have noticed those Pokemon that appeared. That is with one of the items in this game, the Pokeball, which when thrown will spawn out one of many different Pokemon that will do a different thing. Anyways, yeah, you may notice I just lost a life. And thankfully I was able to come back right after. Anyways, now we have the final stage, which has us against Master Hand. We have to fight him on his stage, which I don't know if it even has a name. And so now, rather than having a damage percentage, Master Hand has hit points. Like a traditional fighting game, where you pretty much have to just drain his health down to 0. This is pretty much because, you know, he is a floating character, so you can't really knock him back. Because gravity doesn't really apply to him, I guess. And he'll have a bunch of different moves that you'll just have to avoid. Like using the finger guns. And pretty much slapping across the stage. Some could even say that this might be the same hand that's seen in the opening of the game, but who knows? By the way, you may notice that my shield got pretty small there. If your shield runs down all the way, I'll explain it later. We just defeated Master Hand there. So, there we go. We have taken care of the one-player game. We got 210,000 points for a normal clear. Speed King, which means we beat it pretty quick. Smashless, which means we did not use any smash attacks. And Jackpot. I'll probably put a text box to show what that means. Anyways, we're brought back into the bedroom seen in the opening cutscene. As the door is closed, and we are led to the credits of the game, to where we pretty much have an aiming reticle, where we can press the A button to shoot a name to see what all each person contributed to the game. So you may notice that there's some question marks. Those pretty much hide the names of the unlockable characters of the game. So as you get further into the game, it'll be able to reveal the what we call it, the unlockable characters' names. Bill Trennan. Oh. Super Mario Club. 4 Kids. They actually they provided the voices for all the Pokemon in this game because the I'll explain that later.
Congratulations!
And so here we have the congratulations screen. Each character has their own unique congratulations screen in the one-player mode. And here we have one of Mario holding a flag with number 1 and text saying, "You are great." That's wonderful. By the way, these congratulations screens are not in the Japanese version of the game, oddly enough. Only in the North American and European versions. Anyways. Uh-oh! We have a challenger approaching. So now, this is how you unlock characters. We have you actually have to fight them. And if you win the round, you'll unlock the character. In this case, we have Captain Falcon from the F-Zero video games. And we have to fight him on the Metroid stage. Yeah, he doesn't have his own stage, unfortunately. Now this character is even stranger than, say, Fox McCloud, who comes from a a flight shooter game. Captain Falcon comes from a racing game, so you pretty much always see him in his racing car. Oh, by the way, we defeat him. You can now use Captain Falcon, collector of space race trophies. There we go. And after that, we're sent back to the opening of the game. We can just skip that.